KXAN's Tom Miller and the Texas Tribune's Alana Rocha discuss the debate, the latest on accusations against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, plus Joe Biden's power move in Texas.
Former Vice President Joe Biden expects to spend $6 million in TV ads in Texas, more than any Democratic presidential nominee has in decades. So they must think they have a real shot at winning Texas.
They do. I mean, the polls reflect that. If you trust the polls and make sure that they're polling actual voters. But, more than one has shown that Biden is within striking distance of the incumbent, that being Donald Trump, of course. And, our Abby Livingston, D.C. Bureau reporter, writes today about how not only are the polls and the fact that, Trump is seen as a polarizing figure, that could benefit Biden, but also down ballot races, that it could be kind of like a reverse coattails here in Texas, where Democrats are performing well. They're in hotly contested races, well-funded races, down ballot in Congress and the state house, and that could actually reflect and actually boost Biden's chances of turning Texas blue. And speaking of polls, we do have the latest University of Texas Tribune polls starting rolling out tomorrow on Friday. And you can look for those over the next several days, looking at the pandemic, looking at the races, voting, everything.
We will definitely be looking for that. Also tomorrow, KXAN is hosting a debate between Senator Cornyn and MJ Hager. Hager recently said she voted for Republicans when Barack Obama was running for president. Does she think that's going to help her?
I'm not exactly sure what she thinks as far as that news coming out. Of course, another twist in 2020. But I think voters are focused on flipping the Senate, if that's possible, given, the Supreme Court picks and what's happening there and the Senate's, role in confirming the president's nominees. So I don't think it'll hurt her really going into it. Of course, President Obama endorsed her campaign. But yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt her. It might help her with Republicans or independents. But, I think voters have other things on their minds going into the ballot box.
Yeah, certainly a lot going on. Well, about Attorney General Ken Paxton, he released this new information Wednesday addressing the claims 7 senior aides made last week that he ran afoul of the law. But he released these documents and they don't appear to prove or disprove anything. Was that your take?
Well, I mean, it was an attempt to clear his name, and it kind of raised more questions than did that. One that he released was a referral from the Travis County District Attorney to investigate claims of misconduct by the FBI, by the Department of Public Safety agencies, all of whom raided the offices and home of Austin real estate investor Nate Paul, who is a Paxton donor. And so because of that, Paxton says that he, entered into a contract with an outside prosecutor, an independent prosecutor. But the problem with that contract is that, the prosecutor is not a prosecutor or the man he entered into an agreement with. And the Travis County District Attorney's Office says, wait a second, it's not exactly the order of how it happened. She says Paxton brought her the complaint from Paul. Her office looked at it and then kicked it to the AG's office. So the order isn't exactly there. It is important to note, though, that the Attorney General maintains his innocence, and he will stay in the seat while this all plays out.
All right, Alana Rocha with the Texas Tribune. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, tune in tomorrow night at 7 for KXAN's live debate between the Texas candidates running for U.S. Senate. Hear directly from Republican Senator John Cornyn and Democratic challenger MJ Hager on issues that affect you. And then stay with us for an hour-long special edition of our weekly political news program, State of Texas. Our analysts will break down what the candidates debated, plus how other key races are unfolding in Texas.